Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Ooh, welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 456. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
Hola, everybody. Here we are. Here we be.
Happy
like
trade.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Did you enjoy your break? Little pseudo break because of our early recordings last week?
Yeah, I mean, breaks from this just mean I work more, so I don't know how much of it.
So it's not really a break. It's just the opposite, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how that works.
You want to move to 3 a week? Because that would, I mean, I can touch.
We go
touch
7.
a lot more. That sounds great.
Just a constant live stream of our day-to-day activities.
Should we quit our jobs? That's what I want to know.
That's on deck. Happy Trey Turner standing ovation 1-year anniversary day. Caught
a lot of copycats in a year, you know?
A lot can happen around the league when they see something they like in just a single year.
That happened this late in the season?
Sure did. I caught the
Wow.
I was tuning into the Phillies game to see if they dropped their 7th in a row. They pulled it out, but on the broadcast they did a little flashback. 1 year ago today, August 4th, 2023, Trey Turner gets the standing ovation.
Wow.
So big day in baseball history.
Yeah.
Huge.
I cannot believe it was this late in the season.
I can't believe it was
Did he
just
struggle like that long?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That's weird.
Pretty
All
rough.
right.
I can't believe it was this late in the season that I got to a Nationals game. I finally made it over to Nats Park today. Shout out Mom. Her work allowed for us to take advantage of the suite. So it was her, me, Meredith, and some of her coworkers all in the suite. The suite life at a baseball game.
Yeah, it's different, bro.
Pretty
It's hard to
sweet.
like remind yourself you're at a game sometimes.
Yeah. The food being right there, the bathroom in the suite, so you're not missing anything.
That's great. That's arguably better than the food.
Crucial. I would venture to say so, because we're talking about today. You know, with the pitch clock, if you go to the bathroom, you come back, you've missed an inning and a half.
It's true. Forget getting something at a concession on the same trip. That's out of the question.
I mean, you may as well just not even go to the game at that point.
You may as well not even
We
go.
were there for an hour and 10 minutes today. And it was halfway. The game was halfway over. An hour
that's
and 10 minutes,
crazy,
and the
dude.
game was halfway over.
That's one of those games, like when you're in the suite, you don't want it to cruise through. You know, you're kind of rooting for extras. Talk to me about the food. Talk to me about what was in there.
We walked in, and major league wise, this was the first time I'd been in a suite. I'd been in a suite at the Durham Bulls back when I was living down there in Durham.
Yeah, the only suite I've been into is a Broncos game. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, shout out meme legend Brandon Snyder, hometown hero, for the hookup for that at the Bulls game. That was clutch. But major league wise, this was the first sweet experience that I'd had. So we walk in, and I look over to the counter where you got the mini fridge, you got the ice, you got the drinks in the fridge, and the food laid out. You had your pizza, you had pepperoni and cheese,
Sure.
pep and cheese. They had hot dogs for days with sauerkraut if you wanted that. Nice touch. Not necessarily my
not
type.
that guy. You're not that guy.
I'm not that guy. Nice touch, but not me. And then they had, we'll call them chicken poppers. They weren't exactly tenders, but it was basically tenders, just like cut up into pieces. So that was a nice touch. And then they had Cokes and beers in the fridge. And some popcorn, some communal popcorn. Scoop a cup, and you're on your way.
That's big time. The popcorn is arguably just like, this is the suite that did it have like the seats that you can go out to.
Yep.
I love that.
2 rows of 5. So you're not going out there and you're not like overtaken by people. It was nice. Very nice.
Love that.
Big
Good
fan.
for you, guy. How many Cokes did you have?
Just one. I went back for a second and they were gone. We were hitting the Cokes pretty heavy as a group, I will say. So
did you get your full on the food?
I did.
You're in your money.
I mean, right away
Mom's money.
I went for the pizza. It wasn't even mom's money. It was through work. But right away, slice of pizza, 2 dogs, and more tenders than I'd probably proud to admit. So
They're cut up.
or cut up, yeah. So I mean, it's basically nothing. Like those calories don't even exist at that point. But yeah, it was good. All in all, it was good. Yeah,
It's good stuff. I went to Costco.
that's big. The fact that you're alive, that's a win. That
On a Sunday.
On a Sunday of all days.
I'm physically nauseous still. Just
Would
from
would not recommend.
my rejection, my physical and mental. I don't do well at Costco. It could be a Tuesday, and I'm just as unhappy.
We've talked about this before, but I will go to my grave saying that human awareness collectively is at an all-time low at Costco.
Unbelievable.
If anything, human awareness should be at an all-time high because of everything that's going on around you. People get to Costco and they're like, "All right, I don't have to be a law-abiding citizen. I don't have to be a decent human being now. I can let go of the reins." How does that make sense?
I could just leave the cart right here and then run and get my food while the cart's right in the middle of the aisle. That works. That
and then when I
sounds
check
good.
out and go out to the parking lot and unload it, it's okay to leave it in the middle of the road. No, like that's what we all do. No, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
Lawlessness. It's lawlessness. I had a guy stare at me. He's in the middle of the aisle, and I'm like, you give that like I'm going that way kind of. Then he's just looking at me. I'm like, your semi-truck of a cart is in the way. I need you to move. I need to get to the crackers. Please move.
Real. They treat it like a personal shopping trip, and I get it. Like you're there to shop, but people act as if they're the only ones there. They're stopping in the middle aisle, like scrolling through their shopping list.
Unbelievable.
And they're stopping and looking at the varieties
too. It's always the real snug aisles. I'll tell you what though, the freezer section, it's like $115 today. So the freezer section, I was like, can we just
let's just hang out.
just soak this in? I could see my breath, and I'm like, oh.
Break out the cards, maybe play some games while you're in there. Just stay a while,
What a terrible place.
Hey, speaking of terrible, let's talk some baseball. Zach in the chat asked us to talk about Jackson Holliday. Zach, you best believe we're going to talk about Jackson Holliday.
Guy. Relax. We're getting to Costco stuff, okay?
We got to talk about the important things first. Jackson Holliday can wait. We have to talk Costco, okay? No, we're going to talk some baseball here. Let's talk about the. Hold on. Let's go to thesaurus.com.
Love that.
I'm gonna look up synonyms for awful.
Okay.
Appalling, atrocious,
That's a good one.
depressing,
Good.
dire, disgusting, distressing, dreadful, frightful, ghastly, gruesome, harrowing, hideous, horrendous, horrible, horrific, horrifying, nasty, shocking, ugly, unpleasant. Chicago White Sox.
I feel like if you're using dreadful or ghastly, you're from the UK. You're not from here.
Ghastly.
Just ghastly. Dreadful.
Bloody dreadful, in it.
Yeah. In it.
Bloody dreadful, in it. The White Sox are bloody dreadful, in it. 20 games in a row. I put out a tweet last night. This was prior to the 20th loss in a row today. I said and I put a screenshot of where they're at in the standings. And at the time, it was 19 straight. And I said, if the Chicago White Sox losing streak was an age, it would almost be able to legally drink. That's where we're at. And like, yeah, sure, it's funny to point out the obvious facts such as that, where it's like, we're getting up there. But when you really stop to think about how bad this season has been for the White Sox, it's horrendous. It's not, don't forget, it's not just this. They had a 14-game losing streak earlier in the season. Don't let the fact that they've lost 20 in a row distract you from the fact that they previously, earlier in the year, lost 14. And Frank Thomas had some apt analysis on the post game today. This is why some baseball guys need maybe. I don't know if they're all fit for TV, but he goes, if you take the 14-game losing streak and the 20-game losing streak and combine them, they've lost 34 games in a row. And the other guys are like, yeah, yep, that's how math works, Frank.
Good math, Big Hurt.
That's how that works. No, but I mean, it's silly, but he's right. It's crazy. Like, we're approaching historic records here. We're approaching.
What do they need? They need, what is it? It's like 14 or 15 wins.
It's the wins.
To not be the worst. To not have the worst.
Oh,
record?
to like avoid the worst all time, you mean?
Yeah.
So what I know is that this is the longest streak since the 1988 O's dropped 21 in a row, which is the American League mark. The 61 Phillies hold the National League record for 23 straight. And somehow, make this make sense, the Major League low belongs to the 1889 Louisville Colonels. You know them, you love them.
Who's leading that staff, you know?
Let's do a quick deep dive. They lost 26 in a row, and they finished 27 and 111. What did I say? The 1889? 1889. I know Baseball Reference has this. Yep, here we go. 1889 Louisville Colonels.
Talk to me about that roster. Fire me up here.
It's pronounced Colonel. It's the highest rank in the military. Shout out Creed Bratton. What am I looking at here?
Just hammer home some names.
Let's run through some names here. Paul Cook, Guy Hecker, Dan Shannon.
These are all normal.
Harry Raymond. Here you go. Farmer Weaver.
There we go.
Here we go. Chicken Wolf.
Yeah.
There's no way that's a real guy. No, I don't care what you say. That's not. I'm looking at the guy's picture. That's AI. That's not a real man.
Chicken Wolf.
That's not a real man. He played right, short, and first. No, you're not playing short and first. I don't care what era it is. That's not a real man. So yeah, you got Chicken Wolf. Who else we got on here? Fred Carl. Dude Esterbrook. Guy's name is Dude.
That's nice.
That's
like
a
that.
sick mustache.
What was his last name?
Esterbrook.
That's crazy good. I'm a big fan of that.
Toad Ramsey was on their staff.
Sure.
Toad Ramsey.
Tough year for Toad.
Yeah, just brutal, dude. Yeah, tough year for.
So I'm looking at the list, but like I good old Wikipedia, you know, because can't beat it. It says modern era, which is 1901 to now. Because I keep hearing like the 62 Mets, but they only played 160 games. So like I'm trying to find where the 162 really bad record shows up. And I don't think it shows up until the Senators in 1909 with 42 wins. Sox currently have 27. Is that right? They're 27 and 87, right?
60 games under 500, yeah.
Dude. Yeah, so that would mean 15 wins.
They're on pace to finish 38 and 124, which would be the most losses since the 1899 Cleveland Spiders. Again, know them, you love them.
Yeah.
When they went 20 and 134. The 1899, now that's a team we looked up. And if you recall, that had some, you want to talk about some hideous performance. Who is that one guy on the staff? We talked about this. That went like, do you remember this? Do you remember us talking about this? Harry Cauliflower, that's a guy on the 1880. 1890. These
That's
people
awesome.
are not real.
Harry Cauliflower.
Unbelievable. Yeah, we've talked about them before. The 1899 Cleveland Spiders. No one love them. But yeah, dude, the White Sox, give me your best guess without looking. When was the last time the White Sox won a game? I've got the answer, but I'm curious where your head's at. Just
It's
don't
August.
just don't even think about it.
Don't do math.
Just don't even think about it. They've
let's
lost.
Let's say 4th of July.
July 10th was the last time they won a game.
Wow.
They beat Minnesota in the first game of a doubleheader. I've got some more nuggets here for you. The White Sox have been outscored 131-48. Here's a real nugget.
They've only given up 141 runs?
131.
131?
I mean, yeah, but when you're scoring 48 over that span,
Yeah, a lot of coasting from the opponent, you know?
Yeah. That the White Sox broadcast that I mentioned where they were talking about this, they brought up the point that if you take out the 20-game losing streak and the 14-game losing streak, they still have the worst record in baseball.
Oh.
Take out those 34 losses.
34 dubs. And
Give them 34 dubs, and they're still sitting at the bottom. That's how bad we're talking about. You want to talk about bad? Their manager, Pedro Petey, 100 games under 500 as White Sox manager. 100 games.
Stinks.
Ozzie Guillen was gloating on the broadcast. He was sitting there with the most smug smile. He's like, they picked this guy over me. This is the guy they went with over me.
Ozzy is a different animal. The L20 hits different when you're looking at the standings.
I mean,
you're just like W4, W1, L1, L20.
you almost kind of forget because you see the 0-10 in their last 10. You're like, oh man, they've had a bad stretch, and then you're oh, just kidding. It's actually double that.
Oh, you were saying 131 runs during this stretch during 20 games.
Yes, they've been outscored 131-48 during the streak.
Just letting up 6.5 games or 6.5 runs a game. That's crazy.
Yep.
599 runs scored against them this year.
That, by the way, falling 60 games under 500, like we mentioned, first time it's ever happened in franchise history. I mean, you want to talk about a team that's been around for a long time. Never been done. Never been done for the White Sox. First time ever.
It's nuts is that the Rockies have let up more runs. The Rockies have given up 657 runs.
I mean, they're chilling.
They're chilling. They're in a good spot.
As long as the White Sox are still a viable Major League Baseball team, they're cool.
Crazy, bro. This is just so sad.
Yeah, just like we talked about, you can throw any one of those adjectives that we threw out at you from the jump. It pretty much applies to what we're looking at here in Chicago. And I don't think there's any desire, any hunger to turn that around anytime soon. I think
I think they could have done more at the deadline, personally. Still got some names on that roster that could have moved.
Well, I mean, we were just talking about it before we hopped on. Luis Robert has been worse than in terms of qualified hitters. He's got to be towards the bottom of the list over the last call it month. So I think mentally he might be checked out, because if we're being honest, he was probably looking at the deadline going, "That's my ticket out of here." And then the White Sox were like, "No, we like seeing you miserable. We're gonna keep you around."
That's a big checkout, you know. That's a big checkout. If you're like, you're not being moved. Yeah.
Talk about a letdown, man. You think there's a half decent chance you get out of there, and like, yeah, no, we're good.
Especially once Eloy went, you were like, yes, it's my turn now. Just pull the whole Eloy and just like, just hobble down the line for a second. Be like, coach, hamstring. Done. Shut it down.
I mean, it's kind of different when you look at like Crochet, because Crochet at least is, you know, he's making his demands. Mentally, he's at least aware of the season he's having. He's like, I'm going to make the best of this so that I can benefit myself moving forward. But from what I could tell, I think Luis Robert, for the most part, kind of kept his mouth shut regarding the deadline. And then I would imagine once he found out he was staying put, he was like, I could not care any less about this year, or pretty much as long as I'm in a White Sox uniform. If this is the best it's going to be, if historically low performance out of this team is as good as it's going to get, I don't care.
Can you give me any positives around Andrew Benintendi?
No, going back to
he's going to have the worst season ever.
Going back to the qualified hitters, saying he's like at the bottom. I'm almost positive.
And I think there's a gap.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's holding on to that spot very safely.
Yeah. I don't know in terms of where he's at in terms of being like on track to be the worst. Cause I know at one point, a couple weeks ago, that was the case. I haven't seen an update. I don't know how he's done.
I think there's a very
games.
real shot he'll have like a -2 WAR when it's done.
It's
like
insane.
You're costing your team.
It's insane. You'd be better off sitting Benintendi and playing with two outfielders.
I'd like to see it. A little rover action.
Why not? Mix it up.
To gap.
Mix it up. I don't know.
Tough.
Depressing.
Tough. Just move. I'm done. I'm done with the White Sox. I'm done. Just move. Just get out. Chicago is run by the Cubs, and it's clear that like it doesn't matter how good or bad the Cubs are. Like, this is not your city. Go somewhere else. Start fresh.
I can't wait to see the comments on that video when I make it, talking about how, well, you're a Yankees fan, your opinion's invalid.
Yeah, I know. That's
like a universally agreed upon truth that the White Sox are forever the little brother of Chicago. They probably do need to sell the team, but because you're a Yankees fan, dude,
I'm not allowed to say anything.
You're not allowed to say anything. In fact, there probably will be people that come out in defense of the White Sox because of the fact that you're a Yankees fan and go, easy there, buddy.
Yeah. Chill out, guy.
Best team in baseball, actually.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're talking about. That's what we deal with.
You remember when Bryce was a free agent and they were like kind of vying for him a little bit?
Yeah, I remember the photoshops, the jersey swaps. I remember seeing those. Yeah.
Yeah.
He looked good in a Sox uni. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
he really did.
I do like the uniform. The black and white is clean. It's just not.
Team
not
sucks.
The place. Yeah.
Team
Stadium's
sucks.
a dump too. It's boring. There's nothing going on there.
Nothing. Let's switch gears here. Talk Blake Snell. Arguably the hottest pitcher over the last month, 5 weeks in baseball. I mean, it's crazy. Throws a no-hitter on Friday, the third no-hitter in Major League Baseball this year. Struck out 11 over 114 pitches. And it was the first time in his career that he pitched into the ninth.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
insane. It's a lot of walks. It's a lot of walks. He walks a lot of guys. He goes deep into counts.
Deep into counts. Yeah. I mean, he obviously was able to do it a little bit more efficiently, given that he threw, 114. But yeah, first time pitching, first complete game was the first time he had done that in 202 starts.
What? What do you mean?
He
said this is the first time going in the ninth.
Well, that complete
202
game. I'm
career starts.
Career starts, first complete game.
He's only made 202 career starts.
Yeah. And I think, let me make sure I got it right here. Only two pitchers have made more starts before their first 9-inning complete game. And no pitcher has made more starts at a time of a no-hitter as their first complete game. That's a mouthful, but it's a nugget that I found. All in all, this was a long time coming for Blake Snell. And honestly, in
Cincy too, which let's talk about hitter ballparks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I know we were talking about earlier, good on the people that kind of saw this coming, because I've seen a lot of material surface about how he pitches in the second half, and the numbers are astounding. So good on the people that actually were paying attention to this, because I was just so consumed with the start to the year. And it wasn't just he's having a rough year. It was the nature in which the year or the nature in which the events transpired, like the Boris stuff, the delayed start, the pitching at getting the reps in at Boris HQ. It was just a very strange start. So yeah. I kept seeing the tweets about just hang tight. The second half are always better. And I'm like, this year might be a little different. I don't know if we can trust that, but it seems as though he's logged enough innings and enough starts at this point in the season that maybe he's shaking that first half off, and he's resuming what he does in the second half and the way he's done it over the course of his career. And it's elite stuff. I mean, you want to talk about his last 5 starts, hitters are 8 for 103 over his last 5 starts.
Damn.
And in those 5 starts, and I mentioned 5 starts because that's how many he's had since returning from the IL. In those 5 starts, has posted a .55 ERA.
Decent.
This is what he does. This is what he does in the second half. And we were, like I said, we were talking is this dude washed? Is this the beginning of the end for Blake Snell? I mean, I don't know if we made it that far down the rabbit hole, but it just wasn't looking good, and he seems to be fine. And at a time that could not have worked out better for the Giants in a situation where they're scratching and clawing for what, I don't know. But I mean, they're, as of right now, they're a game under 500.
There's a lot of teams that there was 5 or 6 teams that checked in on him at the deadline.
I thought I remember seeing
checked in
3. Maybe it may have been more, I'm sure, but I think officially it was maybe 3 or 4.
I was looking at his start in very heavy fastball curveball start. There's normally a decent amount of changeups and sliders that he mixes in throughout his career. Because I'm looking at his Baseball Savant. There's 15% changeups, 11% sliders, but it didn't look that way for this. I mean, it was almost it was very, very heavy on fastball, curveball. Fastball is dotting up. Fastball is just hitting spots. Curveball, David Cohn always talks about in his anytime he's in the booth whether it's ESPN or Yankees games, he talks about like if you can place your curveball over the plate. Like there's so many guys that like the sweeping curveball that like kind of takes it away from the plate or stays outside is a little easier for hitters to take. And this one's like if you start it over the plate and try to land it on the plate. And you saw that happen a few times in his start. It looked good. But my notes, I mean, like when you look at like how the Reds have like a few athletic names. You know, there's a few names that like you could anything, you know, like a swinging bunt down the third base line that there's a few hitters in that lineup that are like, that's a knock. And it just didn't happen. And didn't look like anything crazy defensively that needed to happen. But when you talk about like somewhat of a lot of a hitter's ballpark, not a very big outfield, you can play deep and you can get to balls. And there was a few that like looked like they may have been headed for the gap and nothing. I think there was that linea at second base that they doubled off somebody at first.
Yeah.
Other than that, like there wasn't a lot that was hard hit.
A lot of
just avoided barrels.
Well, I mean, there were a lot of fly ball outs. It wasn't anything threatening in that regard, but I mean, it was either. I mean, I would venture to say that of the outs that weren't strikeouts, it probably was like 75, 80% fly ball outs. So, I mean, he was inducing contact. It wasn't maybe the type of contact you would have hoped for because some of those, maybe if you catch a little bit sweeter part of the barrel, maybe the launch angle is a little different, might be looking at a different situation. But, I mean, they weren't. The contact that he did get was not threatening. It was just a lot of fly ball, strikeout type outs.
Awkward celebration too. We were talking about that before we hopped on.
Yeah, weird. the hug was very strange. And what was weird is that the Giants actually like tweeted they're like that no hitter hug, and I'm like, don't bring attention to it. This is silly.
It was weird. There was only like 3 of them at the mound. They were like.
They're kind of like holding each other's waist, like bopping up and down. I'm like, what is?
Get some hopping. We're the boys, you know. Strange, man.
Very strange.
But good for Blake Snell. Good for the Giants. I guess I don't know. The pointless.
No. We're not doing that. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that today. It's not pointless. I mean, technically speaking, it's not pointless. They're 4.5 back out of the wild card. Division's a lost cause, but 4.5 back. I mean, with a run differential of -11, I don't know what October would even really look like for you. Probably short-lived, but I mean, just get to the dance, I guess, if you're the Giants. I don't know.
I mean, the Cardinals are 2.5 back with -38 run differentials, so.
Yeah, but they're only 5 back from the Brewers, so that it's based on the division you play, and we know this. That's no surprise, but yeah, the Giants certainly have an uphill battle. I mean, you gotta jump a handful of teams. But anyway, let's talk Jackson Holliday. The last time we recorded, because we had to record early due to the trade deadline recap. We usually record on a Wednesday, but we recorded last Tuesday. So we haven't even talked since I was at the Orioles game last week. The day after the deadline, Jackson Holliday gets called up, hits his first career home run. He's hit his second career home run since then, but last Wednesday was his first career home run, grand slam. I texted you like immediately, and I'm like, dude, that. And I know that gets thrown around a lot, but I'm like, that ball sounded different.
Yeah.
I mean, he got a hold of that one. They got it marked on Utah Street like right away.
Cool. That's a cool first one.
I love that.
A cool first one being on Utah. Like that's cool. You said Hampel was there?
Yeah. Thankfully, I think we can officially report that he didn't get it, because if you saw the video. Yeah, if you saw the video after the game, it was a father and son combo. Got to meet Jackson, exchanged the ball. I think he gave him a signed bat or something. That was cool.
Props to Dad. Dad said all the right things.
Oh yeah,
It's like, just if my son ends up being in this position someday, I hope someone would return the favor.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Love that.
Bang. That's
Here's
all I
the-
would do. I would just give me a meetup, give me a handshake, a picture, something signed. Be on our way.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to say you were the guy that handed off his first career home run, hopefully assuming he goes on to have a special career. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Here's a question though. If you were the dad, because I thought about this myself watching the video, I'm like, if you're like, how old do you think that guy was? Like 42?
Yeah, I was going to say like 38, 40, 38
We'll call it twice his age. We'll put him at 40. Jackson,
Yeah.
Jackson's 20. We'll call it 40. What are you thinking as a dad in that situation? Like,
Weird.
are you kind of like nervous? Are you like, because you're like this? I mean, this is Jackson Holliday. It's not just some scrub high schooler off the or some like college kid off the street.
Yeah.
Like Jackson Holliday. But at the same time, I've been on this planet twice as long as you have.
Yeah.
Like
I think it does get
weird.
weird. I think we're crossing into that territory where it does get weird. Because like luckily we still have guys that are playing that are our age. It's gonna get to a point where it's like this is just weird. We're just watching kids. We're just watching kids play.
Yeah, and I feel like kids are getting called up earlier and earlier now.
Yeah.
So soon it's going to be like you're going to be 50 years old watching like
Yeah.
17-year-olds.
Imagine if it was with another grown man. Imagine if he was with another 40-year-old. Just take the kid out of the picture. It's just two homies at the game.
I don't know if I can bring myself to organize that meetup. I don't know if I want to
would
be in that
concur.
situation.
I would concur. I think I would give it to an official. Then I would ask for something different. I
Yeah.
don't know if I want the meetup. Yeah.
Yeah, make the team rep handle that. Yeah.
The kid makes it a lot better.
It's a
You know
nice
what I mean?
buffer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a nice buffer.
Cool moment either way. I saw your video that like you could see like this sea of people that just rushed towards you.
It was crazy, dude. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Like you had a good angle because you were up in that third deck and you could just see like everyone just rush to Utah.
If my internet's sick, and I told one of the other camp counselors that I was there with, because that, for those of you who don't know, I was like occasionally for my job, I get to go on these like cool trips, and one of them is a baseball game. And so I was talking to one of the camp counselors that I was with, and I was like, if my internet signal had been better, I could have said that I would have been the first person to have the Jackson Holliday home run on social media. But because my internet was like buffering, the video was just like still uploading. And I finally got it off. And I think I was third. I went back and checked because I knew Twitter was going to be the first one where these videos were going to start popping up. And I think I was like third in line. I was like, that would have been a cool, as like a social media geek like that. I nerd out about stuff like that.
Yeah.
That would have been kind of cool.
Yeah.
But didn't pan out. But still a cool moment nonetheless. I'm just grateful Zach Hampel didn't get it because, like I said,
That meetup would have never happened if Hampel got it.
Oh no.
The guy hates baseball.
That's a valid point.
Goon.
But yeah, that home run seems to have gotten the monkey off his back. It seems to have unlocked the Jackson Holliday that I think we were hoping for and expecting. In the 5 games since the call up, he's 7 for 18. He's got 2 home runs, 7 ribbies, and 5 runs scored.
Yeah. Yeah. I was looking up some video and any of my mechanics nerds. I'll go righty. Any of my mechanics nerds. So when he first came, he has this flick where he will come this way and then it'll settle back. Right? So he's here, and then it'll flick up and then back.
This is exactly why you need to be watching on YouTube, by the way.
When he first came up, he was getting here and it wasn't getting all the way back. It was still kind of like straight up. So when you're super straight up, there's only a few hitters that do well with a super straight up. But if you're super straight up, you're going to lose that barrel a little too early back here. And at that point, you're late. He was also very tight. So when you're straight up and tight, you got to go out and back. and then you're going to get beat on stuff inside, and you're probably not going to be able to hit anything solid away. You're going to flare everything that's away. So now that his flick is kind of like, and if anybody's listened to hitters before, they think about like knob to catcher. So now when that flick's happening, it's knob to catcher. He's got a little more space this way, and it has worked. You can see that like he drove the ball. What was that today or yesterday? That second home run with the left, right? So
No, both have been to right. Both have been to right.
Oh, was that an old video then? Yeah,
I think so.
No,
yeah.
you're right. That was in Cleveland. Yeah, so he hit one to right, but just a little more clearance. He can just get to stuff easier. He's controlling his barrel better. I think it's just like a minor thing. And there's a few hitters where you can kind of see that. Like DJ LeMahieu's doing something similar where he's like super tall. And the older you get, the less you control that top hand, the less you control your barrel. All that stuff happens. But anyway, it looks good.
That was fun. I like that. That might be the first time we've ever had mechanics with Nate on
I love
Take.
I love hitting. I love hitting.
That was fun.
That's a simple one.
We
That's a
need to do
simple one
more
that
of
a
that.
lot of people don't pay attention to. But yeah, little
We need
stuff
to-
like that.
We need to do more of that. That's what
You see-
that's what D-Row does on MLB Network. We need to get our
Yeah.
own little version of that on 3 Take. Get people to watch
Super down.
watch on YouTube.
Super down.
Big fan of that. So yeah, good for Jackson Holliday, and I'll pat myself on the back. That was a quality and a
It was a
very
good video.
very timely. No. I'm talking about the fantasy pickup. Very quality, very timely pickup in fantasy because I knew people were racing to pick him up, but had a little bit of a
Sure you
did a little bit of a research deep dive the
Sure you did.
day before he got called up, and I knew it was coming. So
I've been on cruise control. I'm going to be honest with you. I've been on cruise control
as
for
you
weeks
should be.
now. Yeah.
You're top dog in the league right now.
Yeah. Time to turn it on.
Time to lock in. See, now this is the equivalent of the expanded or the bye they get in the postseason. Like who was it? The Braves were complaining about a year or two ago, where they're like, "Oh, we had this layoff. We can't.
It's true. It happens.
We can't win games because we're rested." This is the battle you're now fighting. You're going to be off for the next 2 weeks,
That's right. That's right.
and you're going to have to keep it sharp up here.
It's true.
My friend.
I've already started doing fantasy football research, just in this time.
Oh, he's done. If you're
Yeah,
listening, he's
I know.
done. He's gone. He's gone. It's over. It's over for Nate.
Doing other things in life. It's freed up a lot of space.
It's over. Not me, dude. I'm hungry. I don't have the luxury of having a bye, so I'm gonna be fighting. I'm gonna be the fighting Phils of this fantasy league. I'm just gonna you got a game for me to play, I'll play it. I don't need days off.
Your roster's stupid. If you read out loud what your roster
We don't
looked like,
we don't need to do
people-
that. We don't need to
people
do
would
that.
Laugh.
Don't need to do that. Let's talk about Mike Trout. This should be the last time we have to talk about him for the rest of the year because he is officially out for the season. Again, we recorded Tuesday, so this has happened since then. I think it was announced on Thursday. Due to the meniscus tear. I think the last time we talked Trout, it was that they kind of throttled back on the rehab. They had pulled him from that one game.
I think he had one AB in that.
It was the
rehab
first
start.
game back, right? The first rehab game, I think.
Did he even swing a bat? Did he even swing?
Yeah, he had. I think it was 2 ABs, right? Because didn't he have?
Oh, he had
one or
two? I thought
one
it
or
was
two
only one AB.
strikeouts. Or I think maybe it was one strikeout.
It was a backwards K. I do know that. I just don't know if he swung at any other point in that at bat.
Either way, not good. Very short lived. That's all I really got, honestly. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, how many times can we rehash the Mike Trout conversation? And I'm not, for the record, I'm not giving up on the guy. I'm still holding out for that 1 year, like I've said time and time again. But I mean, honestly, I'm more disappointed in whatever's going on behind closed doors with the training staff and the personnel in that organization. How many times have we heard the whole like he's on track to come back, he's fine, expected to come back at a certain date, and then you can just at this point in time with the Angels, given their track record of the last I don't know, half decade, you can just assume the guy's done for the year. I mean, that's where we're really at. So honestly, my frustration doesn't lie as heavily with Mike Trout for this particular instance. It's more of like, what are we doing? And we rag on Rendon all the time, but even he was like, yeah, I don't know why they didn't update people on like where I'm at with my injury and the fact that I like won't be playing or whatever he said. I think it was the last major injury he had last year, I think. But I mean you can't really say anything else. It's the same thing time and time again.
I'd rather be an Angel than a White Sox still. At least you're in California, you know?
Yeah. That's pretty much all I've got working for him at that point.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, oh, man. Imagine having that team, being a fan of that team, and then you're in Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to folks in Chicago, but like Chicago. The pizza can't be that good. I mean, I'm sure it's good, but not enough to keep you sane through something like this.
I don't know. It's like a casserole. It just doesn't get me fired up. I don't know, man. I don't think anything was going to happen. I had a feeling nothing was going to happen. I had a feeling that we were going to see this same old story where there's timetable setback. It's what we always get. I don't like being right all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I will say in the chat here, Ryan says Ron Washington probably regrets taking that Angels job. I've had that same thought, and my thoughts on the whole Ron Washington thing. I think they've I wouldn't even say they've wavered, because I mean, if you go back to the day he took the job, we were like, no, we didn't want him in this role. We really didn't, frankly, want him in any managerial role. We just wanted him to stay under the
shade.
He really did.
He had it made in the shade.
Continue to fly under the radar as an infield coach with a quality team and just ride it out.
I'm just so confused as to, like, if you have this burning desire to be back, which I understand. Like, if you were a manager, he managed in World Series. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was doing his thing in Texas. When you don't get over the hump, you don't cross that final finish line, and then you have like your name kind of, dragged through the mud a little bit of his past. Like, those are some things that are tough to get over. And I'm sure there was like this desire to be like, let me come back and prove that that's not me. I think Ron Washington is an excellent coach. I think he's an excellent coach. This just wasn't the right spot. This wasn't where you're going to go prove yourself.
What was I about to say before the Ron Washington thing? Where was I going with that? What were we talking about just before the Ron Washington comment?
Mike Trout not playing ever. White Sox. Would you rather be a White Sox?
What was I going to say? I had a thought and I lost it. We switch gears, talk about Ron Washington. That's fine. Yeah, it's
Anthony Rendon.
No, I don't remember.
Over it.
Whatever. It'll come back to me when we're closing up the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard for me to maintain this fandom of Mike Trout. Like, I'm going to continue, but you keep getting reminded. Like, I mean, this literally this very point in the chat, Mike Trout wanted this. Let him live this. Let him live the rest of his career out, and let's move on to Mookie and Shohei. it's really hard to ignore the fact that like he did choose this. So
I look like I'm not a Mike Trout hater, but I was against the commitment.
Yes, that's what it was. That's what we were talking about. We were talking about the video about you being right. The timing was a little. Sorry, I completely cut you off. Go ahead. I just got excited because
you're good.
It took me way less time to remember that than I thought it would.
No.
No, the comments I've noticed have shifted on that video that's been popping off a little bit for us. Or people like on TikTok, people are like,
go follow us on TikTok if you're not on
follow us on TikTok.
Yeah.
I can't remember if you were you rocking Yankee gear in that video? I think we were just getting a lot of like,
I was. Yeah.
People were like, what does this guy know? Yeah. What does this guy know?
He's a Yankee fan. Worry about your own team.
And this was after he got pulled from the rehab start. Yeah. You're full on Yankee stuff.
Yeah.
But the point is that you were talking about you signed the contract, and then like every year before that, it was like 150 games, 155 games, 151 games. And then you're like, why? Explain the fall off. Like, and people are like, well, he's old. He was in 2019.
It's what, 29, 28?
People are acting like he's ancient.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not it.
No.
That's
what I'm saying.
Like, don't give me the age. And then it comes out that the season's over yet again. And then it's like the comments have shifted a little bit. And you're like, yeah, the comments are like, yeah, this guy's washed. Like, guy should just retire. I'm like, well, I mean, we've kind of been saying this.
I'm just saying, like, when does it shift from like sad that we're not seeing him into like frustration? And when are we going to ask those questions? Because we always ask those questions in every sport all the time. Anytime an athlete is completely healthy until payday, and then all of a sudden he's missing games constantly, you're like, why are we not doing that with Mike Trout? We've done it with every other guy ever. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's that guy, but I'm saying, like, why aren't more people bringing that argument up? The guy's always been healthy until this. So, whatever. I don't know. But he committed to this. He committed to LA. He committed to the Angels. And I think there was maybe a point a few years ago where, like, if he wanted to go, he could have gone. But
I'm gonna ride the fence for the rest of his career on that. I see both sides of it. I understand him committing to that when he did, assuming that there were conversations had of, hey, we're gonna surround you with the right pieces. You know, Shohei rolls into town. It's like, all right, that's a great start.
Sure.
That was what, 2018. So I guess like right around the time, maybe a little bit before he signs the contract. It's like, all right, that's a great way to get things going. And then, which honestly, I mean, how much can you really credit the Angels for that? I mean, Shohei was the guy that was essentially deciding at that point. Like, I'm sure he had his pick of where he wanted to go. Like, I'm going to cautiously give Angels credit there. I don't know. But it's like, you can only fault him so much for the committing to Los Angeles, because it's like, do you think in his time, like, in his mind, during the stretch that he's been with the Angels, do you think he could have seen an Angels draft where they selected almost like sarcastically, almost like mockingly drafted nothing but pitchers as a way for them to be like, see, we showed you? Like, that's not how.
There's a lot of that, yeah.
That's not how your front office should be running.
No, that's weird. That's a weird thing to do.
Like, why? You shouldn't be making moves to appease your fans. You should be making moves to make your team better. And if you upset some people along the way, so be it. But I don't think Mike Trout could have foreseen that coming. And then just with how bad they've been, like they couldn't do anything to support the two best players in baseball. They go on to do absolutely nothing. Mike Trout still hasn't been to the postseason since 2014. 14. So it's like, yes, I get the whole like committing thing, but on the flip side, it's like, I think he was maybe hoping for just a little bit more than what they've given him. So I see both sides of it.
Is there an Angel's curse?
People are calling them the Mets of the West Coast. They've been saying that for some time.
I like that nickname, the Mets of the West. I mean, go down the list: Josh Hamilton, Anthony Rendon. I guess Albert Pujols just got old. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that contract wasn't horrendous.
Yeah,
he just got old.
Yeah, and Rendon's even different than Trout too, because he hasn't been good. Like Mike Trout, when he's healthy, I mean, he's still one of the best in the game, but it's just a matter of how often and how long you get that from him before the next injury. So I don't know. It, like I said when we started the segment, I think this is the last time we talk about Trout until what was the timetable? Was it just like, we'll see you opening day?
I think so. I think that's fair. Opening
no, I
day.
mean, I know he's done for the year, but like this wasn't a thing where it's like, oh, he's going to need like a year of recovery and rehab. Like we'll just see him opening day again, I presume.
We'll see when the timetables come out. The estimates, I love when those come out because they're never right.
Yeah, the Angels need to figure it out. All right, kind of wrapping up here. Just looking at the playoff picture now that we have entered. This is our first, I think, first episode of August, of the month of August. So figured it'd be a good time to kind of check in with where we're at in the standings. Looking at the American League East, the O's and Yanks are neck and neck at 67 and 46. I think, as predicted, that's going to be a race down the stretch that's going to be extremely entertaining. I think the Yankees have righted the ship. The Orioles, maybe to a lesser degree, but they're 6-4 in their last 10.
I think I saw on the broadcast too that the Yankees have like the third easiest remaining schedule.
Yeah, I heard something.
It's going to make things interesting as well.
Yeah, and then the Red Sox are, I mean, they're 6.5 out. The division's kind of fallen out of reach, but that wasn't really the plan to begin with. But it's nice to be able to say that you at least put up a fight for it.
I was going to ask you, at what point are you going to stop rooting for the Royals? Because they're kind of a problem for you.
They're very much a problem. But
yeah,
I mean, let's look at the wild card. I mean, right now the Yankees and O's are tied for the top spot, but then you have the Twins and the Royals immediately after, and the Sox are 2.5 back. So perfect scenario, give the East to, perfect scenario would be the Sox just go on a run and win the division, but we'll put them in the wild card for sake of the scenario here. Give the East to either the O's or the Yankees. Get the Twins out of there. We well documented how we feel about the Twins. And then get the Sox in that second wild card spot, and then keep the Royals in that third wild card spot, so that my preseason prediction of them sliding into the final wild card spot can come true. I've been holding on to that all year long, and if the season ended today, which it doesn't, but if it did, I'm 1 for 1 on that prediction, and that would probably be my most proud prediction, because people were coming at me for the Royals, and I'm like, are you seeing what they did? Are you seeing who they have? Like it seems
great
like
deadline.
Great deadline. Seems like a very reasonable take. People were coming after me. I don't know. But then you got the Astros and the Rays, both 5 games out, and then do we draw the line there? The Rangers are 9.5 back.
We draw the line there
from the wild card. We're not talking division. 9.5 back of the wild card. You're gonna have to, if you're the Rangers, and they were talking about it on the broadcast today, if you're the Rangers, you're gonna have to win the division to make the postseason. They're 5.5 back in the West. So that's kind of what we're working with.
5.5 back in the division.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they on the wild card?
9.5 back.
Oh, 9.5.
That's what I'm saying. You're going to have to win the West if you're the Rangers.
Yeah. Which.
Yeah. National League, the Phillies have slid, man. I mentioned earlier, if they would have dropped today, that would have been 7 straight. They're 2-8 in their last 10.
Yeah.
But we talked about this, within the last 2 weeks, maybe. They did enough to give themselves a decent enough size cushion to where you could afford the inevitable slide. It doesn't matter how good you are, these slides are going to hit. It's just a matter of when, and you try to time them. I mean, you don't try to time them, but you hope that when these slides hit, that you're in a position to where you can absorb that blow, wait for some guys to get healthy, and then you come back and you continue doing what you were doing for the previous 60% of the season.
Yeah, it's my least favorite saying in baseball. You got wins in the bank. No pun intended, bank. But
Boom.
That's true. It's true because those slides are going to come. I don't know, man. 6 games. Atlanta only being 6 games back. That's not crazy.
Well, I mean, Max Fried, to pick a name, has not been great. So that hurts their chances a little bit. I mean, we don't need to run through the list of guys that they're missing, but I mean, the guys that they do have, we talked about it. You're going to need a little bit more.
They got 3 games against each other in a few weeks.
The Mets are one. I mean, we'll talk wild card here in a minute, but the Central, you've got the Cardinals 5 games back. Did that game wrapped up, right? Sunday Night Baseball.
Sure.
So yeah, so I'm assuming this is updated. 5 games back.
I got 5.5.
Okay, so then, well, what did they win? We were recording while the game was still going on. Did they?
It is over. They lost.
They lost. Okay, so yours is accurate.
6-2 Cubs.
Yeah, much unlike the American League, and we've talked about this, much of the National League is very wild card dependent, wild card heavy. You're looking at, as it stands right now, Braves, Padres, D-backs, and then the Nationals are really the only team that's fallen out of the conversation, and we weren't really counting them. We weren't officially putting them in the conversation, but technically they just, based on the fact that I think at the time they were 5.5 back, they have since fallen to 9 games back out of the wild card. So that's one team. But like we said, the last time we looked at the standings and the postseason picture, 13 of the 15 National League teams were either in a postseason spot or were within 6 games of a postseason spot. And that, like I said, the Nationals have since dropped out of that. So now you're dealing with 12 National League teams. But on the outside looking in, you've got the Mets at 1.5 games back. The Cardinals are right there. The Pirates, the Giants, the Cubs, and the Reds. And the Cubs and the Reds are they got a lot. They need a lot to go right. So
4 and 5 games under 500. Where are you realistically drawing the line here in the NL wildcard race? Just gut feel. Like
just vibes. I mean, Giants are 7-3 in the last 10, but at a game, I just can't. I'm sorry, I can't take a team that's under 500, and I know that could literally change with their next game, but the Giants just aren't giving me enough to work with here. For me at least, and I know it sounds kind of crazy that I'm going to rule the Giants out and say I like the Pirates to be in that mix because I mean it's the Pirates, but I gotta say the Pirates are in the mix. You're only 3.5 back, and honestly, looking at those 6 teams, the 3 that are in the wild card and the 3 that are on the outside looking in, drawing the line of the Pirates. The only true lock to me is the Braves, just given their track record and their
I I think the Padres did more. I think the Padres got better more than the Braves got better. And I feel better. I feel more confident in the Padres at the moment than I do the Braves. I think the Padres will end up having the number 1 wild card spot.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I feel pretty confident.
I mean, I'll say this. I won't be surprised if that happens, but it's just
it's the Padres.
Yeah, it's the Padres and it's the Braves. Like, say what you will about how the Braves' year has gone.
Track record.
The track record adds up, and it gives them the benefit of the doubt in situations like this. When you look at a team that year after year finds a way to make the postseason, whether it's more often than not, it's the division, but they just figure out a way to make it happen. And so it's hard for me to say that anything other than that would happen. But to your point, the Padres,
They did a lot. They did a lot of good things.
Some would argue a little too much for what they got, but they made moves. So I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe I revoke my statement. Maybe that we don't have a lock in the National League wildcard conversation. So even more so, I think that benefits the Pirates. If the
lock was chaos.
If we're dealing with an up for grab situation here, I mean, tell me that a Paul Skeens game 1 start in the wild card series would not be
if there's
absolutely electric.
If there's a way that they can really get hot and host that game, bro. Who was the? It was against the Giants, right? Where they gave Cueto. No, not the Giants. Was it Giants?
Yeah.
Where Cueto dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Give PNC just one wild card game with Skeens on the bump, and it is. You don't know. You really have no idea what could happen.
It probably won't even matter because if we're being honest, it's the Pirates. They're probably cutting them off at an innings limit, an unknown, an unstated innings limit that has yet to be made public, and it's not even going to matter.
The Mets and Cardinals don't do anything for me.
I think that safe to say the Cardinals have been doing better than maybe we had given them a little credit for. Well, more so than you. I think you were a little higher on the Cardinals at the start of the year. I was a little higher on the Cardinals.
I think I had them winning the division. Don't hold me to that, but I think I do. Anyway. It's shaking out, man.
It's chaos.
It's shaking out. I'm excited. August is probably one of my least favorite months of baseball, personally. I'm excited when we get into September and it's just like that home stretch and it's just go time. And everyone is who they should be. You got the September call-ups and there's like this little bit of like a spark and rejuvenation from a couple names in the minors where, it's just like that could be the difference. I love September.
The weather starts cooling off ever so slightly. Guys can get comfy again.
Yeah. Also, I just want to put my foot down and fully because I was on Twitter for the game delay yesterday for Yankees Jays, and everyone's like, "There's no excuse to not have retractable roofs at every stadium." I am putting my foot down just as a reminder. We've done this in the past. October baseball means cold baseball, means long sleeves, means bullpen jackets, means hoodies. I will die on that hill forever. October baseball means cold baseball. Yeah, that's all.
I agree. And with that, I think you're getting some reactions. You're getting some positive feedback on the Facebook reactions. I can see it on the screen. So people are loving that. Big fans of the Nate rant on October baseball being cold baseball. I agree. I'm with you.
Should we get a name game in? It's been a minute.
You want to? You want to squeeze one in? I was about ready to wrap it up. I was going to close it out with your rant there.
Let's get a name game in. It's been
all
a
right.
while.
That's fair. Yeah, let's give the people a little bit of bonus content here. All right. You want to do which one? We've done two styles. So you want to do the land on the same name game?
Yeah, I think that's our
Okay. That's
our bread. I think that's our bread and butter.
That's our bread and butter. Yeah.
As a reminder, cannot start with a name that has been mentioned in this specific episode today.
Correct. What did I say? Did we get 10? Did we get 10 guesses? That's the limit. Cutting it off at 10 guesses. And if you're unfamiliar with this game, we have to basically just throw out a random name to start the game. Can't be a name that's been mentioned on this episode. You throw out a random name to start the game, and then based on those two names, you got to find something in common that connects the two somehow, some way. And then your next guess, you throw out two names based on the context clues and where you think the other person's thinking, and see if you can land. You can say the same name at the count of 3, and you get 10 guesses.
Yeah, name?
Yep, I got it. All right, let's start it.
Okay.
All right, 3, 2, 1. George
Yadier
Springer.
Molina.
All right.
All right.
I don't know why you start. We talked about this. Why do you start with retired players? That's just it.
Well, George Springer's basically retired.
But he's not though. All right, so we got George Springer and Yadier Molina.
George Springer. Yadier Molina.
What do George Springer and Yadier Molina have in common? How can we draw this connection?
Dang, dude.
Why am I... There's a guy that I'm thinking of that I cannot... No, wrong AL East team. What do these two guys have in common?
You know what we should do? We should have that song play in between. That's like our countdown. You know what I mean? When the song is over, we have to have a name by then.
Oh boy, that's a good idea. Yeah, otherwise I'd be stuck.
It'll help the silence as well. It's also an added challenge because it's for sure messing with my brain.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yadier Molina and George Springer. Why is this position coming to mind? Dude, I have nothing.
Let's send it.
I have nothing. This is the first name that came to mind. There is zero context to this guess or
I don't really
relation.
have much. I don't have much at all.
3, 2, 1.
Jim Edmonds.
Nelson Cruz.
Okay. All right.
Oh, I got it.
Why? Why do you have it? Jim Edmonds and Nelson Cruz, just like
Yep,
that.
I got it.
Am I an idiot for not?
No, it's just I just connected the dots really quickly. It's all about association. It's all about association. I'm not going to say you're an idiot, but it just came to me very quickly, and I just think if you think... I don't want to give away any hints. This will be
I
our
have no
third
name.
guess.
I I have nothing.
Well,
Jim
you need
Edmonds and Nelson Cruz.
This will be our third guess. Gotta have somebody.
This is crazy.
Gotta have somebody.
This is crazy.
You'll see why. You'll see
We're
why.
gonna zero in.
All right, this is our third guess. 3, 2, 1.
Ian Kinsler.
David Freese.
I mean,
Do you see how I got to David Freese?
It flashed, but like a Cardinal playing against Nelson Cruz in the World Series. Is that the
Correct.
dots? All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, David Freese and Ian Kinsler are now playing together. What do we do there?
David Freese and Ian Kinsler.
I
got a name.
Oh, we're skipping the song.
I got a name. I kind of like it here. I
kind of feel good. I kind of feel good.
Is this our fourth guess? All right,
Yeah.
fourth guess. 3, 2, 1.
Adrian
David
Beltre.
Eckstein. I thought we were there. David Eckstein and Adrian Beltre. 4 guesses in.
Damn.
Man, I thought we were there. I thought based on the speed in which we got there, I thought we arrived at the same name.
Trying to figure out how you got to David Eckstein personally. All right.
What did we determine? Are we allowed to explain our content or our connection? Did we determine that last time?
But like our next guest isn't based on the past. It's based on these two specifically. So I say, why not? Let everybody know
but it
your
also
logic.
it just shows you where you're thinking, so that might be viewed as an advantage.
Are you just saying like no swag? Is that when you think of David Freese?
No, I thought Cardinal, and then for David Freese, and then for who was the other one?
Ian Kinsler.
Ian Kinsler. I just thought kind of like dirtbag gamer kind of guy, and I thought, oh, David Eckstein fits that mold.
See, I went Ranger for Ian Kinsler, third baseman David Freese. David Freese was also a Dodger, I think, for a brief second.
Yeah, he was. Sure was.
That's why I did Adrian Beltre. So now we got Adrian Beltre and David frickin' Eckstein.
Adrian Beltre and David Eckstein.
Okay, I got it. You need a song? You need some time?
No, I think I got the name. So is who was it?
Adrian Beltre, David Eckstein.
Yeah, I got it. This is our 5th guess.
Okay.
Adrian Beltre, David Eckstein. All right, 5th guess. 3, 2, 1.
Eric
Albert
Gagne.
Pujols. Okay. We're zeroing in. We're zeroing in. I feel like mine was along the lines of your thought process, maybe. Sort of. Actually,
I'm
maybe,
definitely
maybe
thinking
not.
of
Maybe
like
not.
guys that play for both teams. Like that's where my mind's been going lately, you know?
All right, so 5 guesses in. We got 5 left. You said David.
I said Eric Gagne.
Eric Gagne. I said Albert Pujols. All right, I got a name.
That quick, huh?
I can't
Let's
apply
roll.
the same line of thinking or the same
each
approach to it. Sometimes I got to mix it up.
Yeah. Ready?
All right, 6 guess. 3, 2, 1.
Barry
Bonds. Bam.
Yeah, there we
Let's go. Let's go.
Excellent job. Power hitter, amazing matchup between him and Gagne.
There it is.
There it
Hooray.
is.
All right.
That's good. So winning names move into we've got Justin Morneau.
A name game Hall of Fame. How about that?
Name game Hall of Fame.
How about that?
Barry Bonds finally makes it in the Hall of Fame.
Barry Bonds finally makes it to the Hall. Congrats. Congrats, Barry. Congrats. Congrats.
Barry.
Love that. Big day for Double B.
Barry Bonds, Justin Morneau. We had a third one. Who was the third name?
We'd have to go back and look. Who was that third guy?
I think it was the first guy that we won with, wasn't it? Or
Morneau
Justin
was the first, yeah.
I'll never forget Justin Morneau.
I will never forget that name. Who was it? Who was that middle guy? There's a third guy. We'll have to. I like this. Yeah, we'll have a running Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
This is good. This is good.
That was a quick one. That was a good job. 6 guesses. That's I
We may
think
need
that's
to-
a new record.
I think for the sake of time, we may need to cut it to 5 just to challenge ourselves a little bit. I mean, we got it in 6. I think we could get it in 5 if we tested ourselves.
I think we need to consistently be good. It took us 5 guesses to even zero in.
No, I got to be a little smarter than that. And I mean, this isn't a Hall of Very Good, Nate. This is the Hall
That's
of Fame.
true.
So
That's true. We just got to
these
be
guys
better.
have to earn it.
Just got to be better.
We can say these guys are grandfathered in.
Yeah.
But moving forward, I think we need to have these guys earn it.
Yeah.
Very well. That's all I got.
Good stuff. Good stuff today. Let's have a good week, everybody.
Let's have a great week. We'll link back up with you guys on Wednesday.
Yes,
If all things go right.
It should, right?
Let's have a week.
Let's have a week. Let's do our thing. Don't go chasing curveballs.
We love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.